Starladder I-League, being broadcasted by myself, Luminous, and joined by Scans. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Just watched the EG versus LGD game here, and that was a pretty exciting one. I think they're both possibly top contenders in this tournament. Vega and Wings on the other hand, we haven't seen them yet, so I mean, I think first game of the tournament for both of these teams.
Yep, so Wings obviously did not make it out of the Chinese qualifier, so that's one notch against them, but you're personally not too big of a Vega fan, right?
Actually, on the contrary, I've been like a big Vega sympathizer for a long time.
And but the disappointment of the Vega
it's
is
basically because Vega's this team that have just been super unlucky, right? At the international, they tried to go to the play-in series, they lost to MVP and CDEC, but both those teams made the top 8. And then at the Frankfurt Major, they beat OG twice in their group, and then they didn't make top 8, even though OG won the tournament.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like this team just keeps getting unlucky. But now, for these major qualifiers, Shanghai, they just didn't play well enough, and so I'm losing faith because. I mean, I don't think you can't say they got unlucky in the Shanghai qualifiers. Sure. Actually, Wings got a bit unlucky in the Shanghai qualifiers because they changed the system. The Frankfurt qualifier system was like if you get a win, you get 3 points, and if you get a draw, you get 1 point.
1 point, yeah.
And this one was just each game counts the same. And it turns out if it was the old system, Wings would have made it out their group.
I see.
So, okay. So this is like a match of teams that have bad luck or something.
Bad luck and good luck, I guess. Yeah. I guess bad luck more.
Yeah.
But I feel like Vega has done one thing right so far is they ban out the Earth Spirit because that hero is absolutely broken.
Yeah, and every Chinese team first picks it. So it's like, and you know what amazes me as well is like go all the way back to TI5. You know, CDEC picked Dire every game and everyone was picking Radiant, and Vega actually when they played against CDEC, even in the play-in series, they took Dire off CDEC. They were the only team who did it until the grand finals.
EG did it,
yeah. So this is clearly a team, despite like whatever you think about CIS teams, they do research. They like check out their opponents. They're very analytical about the game, and I'm not surprised they're the ones who banned the Earth Spirit against the Chinese for the first time.
Yeah. Now the Chinese also, I say Chinese, but obviously a lot of these Chinese teams have, different playstyle and different hero perspectives. But the Chinese as a whole love heroes like Terrorblade, Void. I haven't seen a Void on this stream yet, but in the other stream we've been seeing things like Carry Void being jumped out. So we'll see if we're going to see a little bit of Void out of Wings Gaming.
Yeah, that Carry Void didn't win though, right?
Did not win. It was a very weird way to play Void, to say the least.
It's the first carry Void I'd heard of on this patch, and a lot of people had just assumed you can't carry Void. It's nice to see Virtus.pro like trying it out, but I feel like Void is best suited right now to the way the Chinese are playing it in the off lane with like the Vlads and the Blink, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And it's definitely something Wings could go for, although at the same time they banned the DP out themselves, which the Chinese really like. I mean, I agree with you, Chinese teams play differently, but Chinese teams in general, when they pick Void, often pick it with the DP.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's where they'd start either.
Alright, looks like we're going to have the Nature's Prophet first pick. How do you feel about Nature's Prophet in this patch? Is it a good enough hero to just blindly first pick like that? Do you feel like he has a lot of counter? In the older patches, you look at heroes like Storm, which no longer is in the game. You have heroes like Clockwork, even Ember, pretty good against MP. But difference in this patch where you could safely say, alright, I'm going to first pick MP.
So it's actually, I mean, the patch gave it like some minor buffs, made I think the trees stronger, a few things like that.
Sure.
But Nature's Prophet was already, the thing that makes it really strong was there before the patch, which is the Aghanim Scepter. So actually, I sat on the plane here next to Winter, and we spent most of our conversation talking about this hero because he loves to play it, and we were both kind of saying it's just like, well, there's heroes to counter it coming out, but it's the Aghanim Scepter like lets you, I don't know if you watched one of the games earlier today, a team had, I think Na'Vi had Fnatic mega creeped Na'Vi, and Na'Vi's whole team ran to Rush and killed Rush because they had a Nature's Prophet with Ags. Pushed out mega creeps, like
with his
ulti. Yeah, it's like just these big trees. So that's, and bringing the Zeus with it like explains to me it's like
10 seconds.
It makes even more sense then, right? They've got an idea of like a global strat. I've seen teams do this a lot recently where
I've seen it more with like Zeus Spectre.
Yeah.
But obviously they could pick Spectre here and just add to that.
But what you threaten with the Nature's Prophet Zeus is the lineup usually ends up being kind of like if the enemy team splits up, you pick them off because you have so much global damage. You need one thing to stun them, and then you do all the damage.
Right.
If they group up,
you get the rat.
You've still got all the So it like puts people into an awkward position when you go into this global. But yeah, Wings Gaming actually started the Venge and the Batrider, which are both really good at catching out the Nature's Prophet, and that's something that you did speak about as like potential weakness for the hero. And it's also nice to pick the Venge with the Bat because the Venge is at least historically a counter to the Bat.
Sure. I think historically when we see global lineups being ran, and this sort of strategy has been ran since day one of Dota, is that their laning is not exactly the strongest, especially like if you look at MP Zeus. very gankable, especially for a Venge coming in with a smoke. If the Venge is not a support one, it looks like we have Lycan being taken out. A little bit of homework being done the other way as well. They definitely are the scumbag Lycan pickers.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say. Actually, the funny thing about Vega is that in the qualifiers they were doing these global strategies, but they were actually push strategies.
Yes.
And they would start this way, and then they would actually go into the Lycan. And it would exactly what, like the way you deal with push is you either take a 5v5 or you split push. But when you have the global elements, we spoke earlier about how neither of those things really work. And so it makes sense, like Vega now want to make it into push strategy because they've got the global, which stops both the split push and the team fight.
Well, if you look at pushing heroes per se, you still got a lot of them left in the pool.
Yeah, Lone Druid and like another and actually all three of the bands are like the
pushing
main
heroes. Speaking of pushing, Wings pick Keeper of the Light quite a bit, and they're very, very good with Keeper. So I feel like, if there's a push coming your way, can you just lean back towards your Keeper pick? Or do you think that it will not work too well with your, Bad and Venge? It's fine.
Yeah, it's a way they could go. I think it's fine. I mean, my concern for Keeper would be more the global damage. It's the kind of hero that, like, the game goes late and suddenly Zeus, Fiora, and one other hero ulti, and you just...
Okay, that's fair.
They're going to take a while on this pick. I think this is a pick that teams often take a while on, or the ban, because the ban is... You get to pick right after you ban.
Yeah.
So any part in the draft, so... I usually think if a team takes a long time on this ban, they're thinking about both of them. It's not just about the ban.
Yeah, it's what to pick yourself, and then what's their pick. They take out Disruptor, okay. It's a hero that Vega has leaned towards too, quite a bit.
Oh, they're gonna get some global element there too. I wonder if they're gonna take a Spectre or Wisp or something, because Disruptor is good against those heroes, and those heroes are good against the Nature's Prophet.
Well, I wonder if Disruptor was
just for the bat?
To protect the bat, because, you blink in, you get Lasso to... Sorry, you Glimpse to break the Lasso.
Yeah.
Static Storm's also very good against the bat pre-BKB.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It could just be for the bats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought they were thinking about the ban in the pick, but it turns out they actually weren't.
Oh, who knows? We don't know what they're exactly thinking, but... I do want to say that I remember casting some games for Wings when they were in the Frankfurt Major as well. And even though, again, they didn't win it, they were able to take games off of teams like IG, which was much stronger back then. So I feel like this team has a lot of potential. And I think, right now, this is the place to show it. And they do take AA, which is kind of a, take away from the Vega Global.
Pick, yeah. It's nice, though, because it fits with their draft, too, because Chilling Touch plus Venge Aura, so they're going to have that, like, super high damage grouped up thing.
They could have the Venge carry if they want it, because the criteria for Venge carry, for me at least, is to have a lot of single target damage, at least to shut down the lane. It will make Nature's Prophet have a tough time, and like you said, the Chilling Touch, the cold feet, definitely adds to that.
Yeah, I think that Ancient Apparition is one of the supports I've seen most often when there is a Venge carry, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's what they do with it. It does put focus on what their mid hero is then, because when you run the Venge carry, especially if you have like an offlane bat, you really want your mid hero to do some actual carrying of its own, and oh wow, Vega take the Spectre, so yeah. Getting that global, I wonder if this draft will have any element of push, or if it will just be straight up global.
All right, so let's talk about what this global lineup is good at, right? You just Haunt, you Wrath, you Zeus ult. There's a lot of spread damage. What are some of the items apart from mech that you want to be getting to, keep yourself alive here? Are we looking at things like an early hood on somebody, early pipe? Are we looking at maybe even things like, apart from mech, what would you get?
Yeah, I mean. Pipe seems like the other thing.
The only other one.
Other than that, it's just like individual heroes, like tanking up a bit.
Maybe a Glimmer or two.
Yeah. Ancient Apparition, it was what we were saying about Keeper of the Light. Ancient Apparition looks like it would just pop in that combo.
Yeah.
Anti-Mage is a nice pick against this kind of thing. It's not going to really care that much about the disruption, but there we go. There's the push element of Vega Squadron's draft, and it's really nice against the Anti-Mage as well if they need to pick it off. So they picked it instantly, like, without even thinking about it. And
it's also a Dire Shaman, so it opens up the Roshan even more. You already got MP for that, but now you could even, put it down and kills.
10 seconds
I don't know, I feel like Vega, as predictable as the draft is, you know what's coming, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. And I mean, the one really big weakness in Vegas draft right now is that their whole draft is around ultimates.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single hero functions mostly around its ultimates, and none of them are really short cooldowns.
Yep.
So there's going to be room for Wings in between those ultimates to do things. But obviously Vegas' plan is each time they all use their ultimate, they're going to like win a fight or kill 2 towers or something. So it's if Wings go into the mid game and find ways to get Vega to like waste ultimates, that gives them a lot of room, I think, in this game.
Sure. Can you make the argument right now the Vega safe lane is very weak? Spectre or Shadow Shaman is not exactly the strongest laners. And you have the ability to run offensive tri lane. Venge AA +1, the last pick. You just roll over that lane. Sure, you have like a bad mid versus Zeus and maybe AM versus Prophet. These are not exactly the most favorable matchups. But you do run somebody down. Or do you think that's maybe too aggressive or too late into the draft to kind of do something like this?
No, I actually think that's what they're likely to do. And I think the AM versus Prophet is fine, actually, which is part
if
of
it gets a PMS.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me. The only concern I'd have is that Vega Squadron's approach this, but they'll know that their lanes are kind of weak. I would see Mag Nature's Prophet actually just coming into that lane.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden there's like 4v3 and if you commit to that kind of aggressive lane and lose it, it's very dangerous.
Sure.
Wings needs so it can't be a core Venge anymore, and we don't see that in the mid lane. I guess the Bat could be mid or off lane, because we have seen a bit of a return to the mid Bat recently. Yeah. What do you think that matchup's like, Bat versus Zeus?
I mean, nobody's going to kill each other, 1v1. Although, I do want to say that Bat has a fairly good time in terms of CS. I don't know. It's pretty much a wash for me is how the Venge plus the Shaman will move. This looks like offensive try to me.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be.
And this is the Jug that won't get farm. He'll get a Vlad's, I guess. Like, or a Drum, something like to help the team. The Spirit Breaker is...
more global. It's like he's gonna charge in, and then everyone's gonna ult see that.
But more importantly, it's a very good laner.
Yeah,
like he's so tanky. If you go on somebody, he'll just charge your back line, and suddenly he stuns everybody. So,
but so it sounds like exactly what we're talking about, like aggressive lane, and I think it might be on Mag, because if Mag TP's in and makes the difference in those fights, all of a sudden like it could be a disaster for Wings.
Okay, so the question is, can they kill quickly enough where the TP won't even really complete before it?
Yes,
it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yes.
You got Magic Missile, Chilling Touch, and the spin. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. So that's gonna be. I mean, I think Solo plays the Shadow Shaman. It looks like they're deciding here, but usually that's his hero, and I think it's then on him because the Shadow Shaman is the one who's most likely to get caught out and killed in that position. Actually, Solo is gonna be on the Spirit Breaker this time. He's definitely their main Shadow Shaman player, and maybe that's actually why they took so long. Just deciding that it makes more sense for him to be Spirit Breaker in this composition, but those are both heroes that Solo usually plays.
Alright, so we'll quickly jump into the games here. Did you have a preference in terms of the drafts here?
Yeah, I like Vega's draft a lot. I think it's like just so easy to play. Like that, exactly what I was saying at the start. You have a push element, so they have to do something. If they're split, you're gonna get pickoffs. If they're grouped, you've still got all that AoE. And I think to make matters worse, Wings have picked an anti-mage, which is like not gonna do that much early on. In order to do something early on, it needs to be splitting, but there's already an answer to the split. I think Vega's draft is quite a lot better, and the only exception to that is if Wings like totally destroy the lane stage. And we've talked about how they might do that. Run the aggressive lane. If they run the aggressive lane, they could possibly win all the lanes, and it does look like they're certainly going to be starting with that aggressive lane.
The other strange thing for me is Bat actually has got boots first and a magic stick. I think if you're gonna go mid 1v1 against Zeus, wouldn't you prioritize a little bit more of the regen? So
they're gonna feed him tangos later on, I think.
I guess. Okay.
It's probably gonna get. They're just trying to get there fast. I mean, it would be surprising if they don't.
Yeah.
Do you think, I was having a chat to, I think it was Winter, about this, like, do you think that they should make it possible to feed people fairy fires the way you can with mangoes?
I think that would make it... Well... The thing is... I think that's fairly broken, in a sense.
Yeah.
Because feeding mango is rarely seen as a defensive play. In fact, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
You give them mango to do
get
stuff.
that last stun or something.
Yeah. Whereas feeding fairy fire, suddenly it's like, hey, my name's Slasher, I play support Void, and I walk around and like a South, it's an instant burst heal, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we'll make it too strong.
I also kind of feel it would. There were some people in the conversation who were saying like it would just make for lots of like cool clutch camera players, like
it's clutch like the first 2 times you see it, and then it's like, oh, here comes a fairy fire.
Yeah.
Not exactly the hardest thing to execute.
Well, let's see if Wings are gonna catch him or not. Shoma's actually got boots, so gets the ward up early and doesn't look like the smoke's gonna don't think they're gonna find an early kill here.
Maybe they'll use a rune as a bait, and then just do a full wraparound. Speaking of boots first, Vengeful Spirit also has the boots.
Well, Rasta might be up. They go for the Zeus.
No one's fine. Yeah, they do get the rune though, which they were gonna get anyways because they got the aggressive try.
Yeah, I honestly I think that the strength of Wings' draft compared to Vega's draft is that Shadow Shaman is like really not strong at this stage in the game, especially not in a like 3v3 kind of situation. So it's Wings need to get a lot of the lane stage, and for me everything else kind of favors Vega in this game.
All right, so here's the Vega's reply. They put Mag in a solo position up top. How anti-mage face against a defensive tri-lane is the question.
He's not going to get much.
Yeah,
they're going to switch as well. That's what I think. If Wings see the switch, they'll just switch themselves. And it looks like they're already starting to. The Ancient Apparition's heading bot. Yep. So I don't know what they scouted out, but they're onto something.
Maybe they scouted out the fact that they've been scouted, and it will be the logical move for Vega to make the switch. So they're going to just make the switch themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. Intelligent calling. If it ends up, if the supports just go down bots and Juggernaut stays top, Juggernaut versus Nature's Prophet 1v1, it's just not a lane that you see very often, but it seems like it should be okay for either one of them.
I say if Juggernaut gets a face boot, he wins the lane.
Yeah.
But the question is whether he's gonna make a poor man's shield first, whether he's gonna get like an Orb of Venom and things like that.
Yeah, and the alternative actually is what if Mag gets the phase boot first and like he's got it for a while before Jug can get there, and he can just, like,
yeah. The one thing I'm concerned about is if Wings did run the offensive tri-lane or defensive tri-lane, whatever the case is, then the Bat Rider won't have a lot of jungle help when it comes to stacking. Big part of him finishing a very timely, like 8 to 10 minute blink.
Yeah, which is also a very important part of their plan, because like we're saying, they need to have a good early game, they need to kind of like get the momentum going.
So it makes me wonder if, even if you go offensive tri-lane and if you do very well on the laning stage, if that's going to be enough, because your Bat Rider cannot fall behind. He's a big part of this mid-game dominance strat, if you want to hold back the global that's coming your way.
Yeah, I think I agree. And on top of that, I still think, even with the 1v1 lane, Nature's Prophet against Jug, I still think Mag's going to be TPing into fights early on. Because, like we've said, if Vega managed to get a good early game, like the rest of the game shouldn't be very difficult for them. So, like, why not? It's fine if you sacrifice some farm in the Nature's Prophet, if it means that you win some of the early clashes.
Alright.
So, key issues, they say, but looks like...
Well, Max disconnected, sorry.
Came back in, then he left again.
Reboot?
Did he? I don't know. I'm confused.
I guess let's talk more about Fairy Fire, because the game is paused. Do you think that because we used to see a lot of Mangos being purchased, and now it seems like Fairy Fire is a new hot thing that has replaced Mango? Do you feel like this is like a transitional phase where players are testing out, or do you actually think that Fairy Fire is a little bit better than Mango early on?
Yeah, I would say it depends what kind of hero. I think a lot of the time solos are buying Fairy Fire. I think that's like, for me, quite clearly better than Mango.
But I even see heroes that are like very mana intensive, like Zeus, for example. They're picking up Fairy Fire over Mango as well.
Yeah, because Zeus doesn't mind like sitting back clarity and like spam spells, because your clarity is actually quite safe when you Zeus. The kind of hero that really needs a Mango is like, I don't know, when you play offlane Legion or something like that.
Undying, Bristleback, the run in at you and need the burst mana kind of.
And I think those heroes still need to buy it. I think those heroes are going to try and buy Mango and Fairy Fire. Which is helped by the fact that boots are cheaper these days, so maybe you get a little bit of extra gold. That's what you use it for.
All right, so name me a hero that would not even get a Fairy Fire. It's like Ogre Magi off lane or something like that. You just go stack Mangos. You don't really need Fairy Fire, maybe.
Yeah, Ogre probably doesn't need. Although I mean, he could make use of it if push that much further in tanking stuff. It is interesting though to me that the support Vengeful Spirits with the Fairy Fire as opposed to
Mango. Like, I would say that she's a hero that cannot sit back and clarity regen and need the Mango to drop that magic missile. So,
and especially because I guess she couldn't afford. I actually just thought she would buy Tangos. She only had 100 gold, which is a bit too little for Tangos. You need 125.
Yeah.
So she wants some regen, and it's when you're buying the support items and you want to buy boots, you can't actually afford to also get the Tangos and the clarity. So this is like some kind of trade-off where I'll get the clarity and the Fairy Fire. You have to have one. You gotta have that clarity, I think. Otherwise, you like stun twice, you're out of the game. Have to go to base.
For those of you guys that are joining us on the stream, this is well, this is the best of one throughout the group stage, but this is the first game for both of these teams, and Group B is just very fresh. We did just have Vega. Sorry, we have Secret beating over
Virtus Pro.
Virtus Pro, yes. So that's the only other game that's been played in this group. If you have to say right now, who's the top 3 team of Group B? Who would you say? Who would you choose?
Secret, Virtus Pro, Liquid.
Yeah, pretty strong guess.
Yeah, Liquid looked really good in the EU qualifier. Like they were just like stomping people a lot. I didn't watch the Secret versus Virtus Pro, but I heard it was quite close, and I heard that those teams were scrimming against each other a lot as well. And
yes.
They just seem like top
on
contenders.
A different level. Yeah. Right, so I guess these teams are fighting for that maybe that last spot. Now who knows? Best of 1. Maybe Team Liquid will drop a game or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable to expect that like at least one of the 3 spots will be contestable.
Right.
And for these 2 teams, along with who's the last team in their group? It's is it Complexity?
Yes, Complexity.
Yeah. So for these 2 teams, along with Complexity, like the one that does best of those 3 probably has a chance of getting out of the group.
I think a lot of people always sleep on Complexity. It's like, oh, it's an NA team, but I don't know. I think Complexity is quite good.
Because they imported Europeans.
Fair enough. They're actually not NA anymore. They have more European than.
Yeah. But the game is finally unpaused, and Zeus gets early bottle in the mid lane. Seeing the lanes switch around. Venge is actually going up to the top lane, so it looks like they want an early kill on this Nature's Prophet. But Mag's one step ahead with that Treant Scar.
Let's not see the Venge. But scouting, meanwhile, looks like Solo on the bottom lane. Not really capable of doing too much because he doesn't have an Orb of Venom or anything. Obviously, really doesn't have his bash skilled yet.
Yeah, and Anti-Mage is going to get farm under his tower, but I think when the creeps come off his tower, if he's only got Ancient Apparition here, he's going to get almost nothing. Like, and that's a problem for them, because this is a hero that's not going to be useful at all until he gets farm, and if he's not getting farm at all, like, we see Vega's combo come online, their ultis, and Anti-Mage is not even close to Battle Fury.
Right.
Another pause. By the way, we were talking on the panel earlier about Complexity, and I think that, you know, for a long time there's been this EG is the best in North America and no one else is really close. Complexity is maybe the best chance of, like, having another distinguished American team, I think.
Well, they're not North American anymore.
Yeah, except they're not really.
Although I do want to say that
they play in the qualifiers,
because I think the players actually are currently living there.
Yeah,
they have a team house, so they can be considered as a North American team. A little bit of word wars in the jungle. I don't know. I feel like sure, Anti-Mage is not going to have as good as a farm as Spectre, but he's going to get enough, and once he gets a Ring of Health, starts to alleviate the pressure a little bit.
Solo gets spammed a bit, but
solo kill on the mid lane here as Blink gets a solo kill. He might actually die here to the charge as he's coming right in Seema Slayer. Might get enough range for Shock, and long range Shock not going to be enough. Really helping out there. Meanwhile, Distance won't get off a Magic Missile either. So as expected, the Bat with the boots, you know, doing a lot more the laning stage than the Zeus was able to handle.
Yeah, it's a good start for Wings, but remember we're saying like Wings are the ones who really need a good start. So it's kind of like if it's them that they've done what they need to in this lane for now. I don't think it's a worrying sign for Vega. Maybe if Zeus dies again, that would be worrying for them because his job at this point is like get level 6 without dying too many times.
Yep. Sorry, I'm not used to LD's camera control because he has edge pan off. I'm like, what's going on? My camera's not moving.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lumi's actually being LD now, and I'm Lumi.
Yes. Oh, does it show up as it says I'm a drugstore noob.
It says you're a disgusting noob.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Not drugstore. It looked like drugstore for a second.
Yeah, seems like you're right. Anti-Mage is getting decent farm, Spectre's getting decent farm. All the supports from both sides have actually like rotated off that lane. There's a smoke back into the lane by Vega supports though. And I'm pretty sure they could kill... No, actually they're switching across. This is actually both support duos potentially smoking onto the mid lane.
If fight happens under the Dire Tower, I say Vega wins that fight. Simply due to the notion that charge and is so good.
The symmetry of these smokes, like they each at the exact same time.
Yeah. I don't know, Anti-Mage is a little bit harder to gank in my opinion, we'll see.
Yeah, and there's not even a Hex yet on Shadow Shaman,
Yeah.
so...
Looks like the smoke will wear out on one side. Meanwhile, top lane looks like they're making it go. I think Mag's going to be dead here. He does drop a Fairy Fire, but not getting enough to survive. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Anti-Mage, yeah. He sees that smoke coming. He'll just walk away.
Alright, so the early kills still favoring Wings. But, yeah, I don't want to, unless Vega are getting completely demolished, I want to evaluate them a couple minutes after they got level 6. Because that's really what their draft is meant to do. Start making plays once everyone's level 6.
Yep. So I'm surprising to see Blink here not picking a point into Flame Break. Normally you don't see off-lane bats picking it up because you just simply don't have the mana to support it. But as a mid-bat, you have the bottle going, you know, especially against a hero like Zeus, a good Flame Break means a kill. So.
Yeah. And I know S4 likes to level it, and he's like meant to be the best mid-bat, so it is a bit surprising, I agree.
Oh, he's the best mid-bat because he's the only mid-bat.
Yeah, exactly.
At least in the last match.
Okay, someone's getting charged.
In a sense, I wonder if he's aware of it. He's gonna get stunned, but Solo, let's see how good his bashes are. He canceled that attack, but that also drew a TP from Shaman. I think he was thinking that he could cut him off the other direction. So far the movements for Vega has not been too effective. We talked about, you know, level 6 and everything, but I feel like this is normally the time where Spirit Breaker is, you know, the dominant hero on the map. He's not really doing much of anything.
Well, Zeus is level 6 now, doesn't have the mana though. Nature's Prophet very close to 6 as well. Not quite there. I mean, the cool thing for Spirit Breaker is like, the way the strategy works, if he charges someone, and then they all ulti, like he's gonna get all of that XP.
Sure.
And then he's gonna make back everything he dropped off on. So I'm just like, sort of eagerly awaiting level 6. Yeah, no one actually goes back to the base, fetches Soul Ring, make sure there's mana for the ulti, because Nature's Prophet's gonna be level 6 now too. I don't know if they need to wait for Spectre to be level 6 before they go for the first kill with this. They probably don't need to. And they've actually switched Pasha into the safe lane now.
Yeah, I think it's just, I guess, how safe you want to pick up the kill. There's a charge.
Charging creep.
Just to get into the lane for EXP.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower is
You know,
under
we keep
attack.
saying that Wings draft is maybe not too good, at least not against the Vega lineup. And sure, we haven't see Vega hit their stride yet, but I don't know. I feel like as AM gets more and more free farm, and you still have a Juggernaut that's relatively getting a good amount of farm as well. He is also level 6. That Wings is going to be fine in the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, Anti-Mage and Jug are both carries that are very good against the global like burst plan.
Right.
They're not going to die to it, but they are susceptible to being caught out by Spirit Break or Shadow Shaman, and then they will die.
Yes.
So if you get Blink Hexed or if you get charged, ultied, then suddenly everyone gets on you, you're in trouble. Maybe that's not a huge issue because they have both the Anti-Mage and the Juggernauts, and because it would take like quite a big commitment from Vega. But I do see where you're coming from. That's certainly if Wings go into the mid game ahead, like there's potential for them.
Yeah, if Wings Blink gets a blink at 10 minutes and gets a kill, I say they're fine. Like, and he's well on his way. Like I said, you know, Jungle's not really stacked, so it's gonna be somewhat slower.
Okay, Spectre's about to get level 6. That'll be the third level 6.
I think that's when you go.
Yeah. It's very interesting actually, Shoma the Slayer, the Shadow Shaman, didn't take any points in Hex. I'm used to seeing just the value point in Shackles, max the lightning and get the 1 Hex so you get the instant disable.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that that's, along with the Spirit Break, is like the main initiation where they start the global combo.
Especially in a game like this where you don't really expect to
Dire's
hit your full
bottom
shackle,
tower
you know, in the
is
fight.
under
You know what I think it is? I think it's that he's playing a very hard 5 right now, and so he's not expecting to get that fast mana boot, so they've used their ultis.
No, they actually don't get the kill because the Spectre didn't come in.
Radiant's middle tower is
Alright,
under
they get the
attack.
kill. There you go.
Well, there you go. There's that first round of value. Now we wait for all the cooldowns.
Now you just step back and farm, which, you know, they're okay with that.
Radiant's
They got a
middle
Spectre.
tower is
Yeah, I
under
was saying about the
attack.
Shadow Shaman. I think it's because Spirit Break is actually playing the 4 and Shadow Shaman's the 5.
Right.
And because you're gonna have less mana, you like to get the whole combo, to get the Hex, Shackle, and Lightning off. It's gonna be much harder to do that multiple times. So.
I get that if you're, you know, maybe past level 6 or 7 when you have already had access to every one of your spells. Because having a Hex against, for example, Anti-Mage makes the fact that you can actually gank him versus not. So
Yeah, actually, yeah,
I'm just surprised. Maybe he'll pick up Hex F5.
that would also be a bit unusual, but I think I agree with you. I just think if
It's a little weird.
yeah. There's a smoke from Vengeful Spirit and Ancient Apparition toward the mid lane. They're considering going toward the Bot lane coming back toward the mid lane now.
I'm a little bit surprised with that smoke usage, because you know that once Bat Rider, well, they'll get a kill from it, so that's good stuff.
Venge is gonna die as well, I think.
Oh, they'll get one kill. Venge is gonna go down. It looks like Ice might be in a little bit of trouble. Flamebreak will be very helpful here. And Shaco, well, everybody's latched under the tier 1 tower. See, with the Slayer, though, under the fire is gonna take a ton of damage. In fact, Mag in a lot of trouble. He will salve and try to get himself back out. The right clicks from the back doing a lot of damage, but not enough. Meanwhile, on the back line here, the bash is coming out from Solo, getting the kill. Shadow coming in, trying to get a blink. He has Mana Void available. If he can get the blinks, oh, okay, I heard the sound. Mag is juking for all his worth. It's a tango, and still jukes it, and now he has vision being granted by the Spirit Breaker. Looks like he'll be able to self-sprout and TP back home. That's some good moves being thrown out by Mag. Solo should not die as he is extremely tanky.
So it's... Anti-Mage came off the lane and didn't get... Oh, they were trying to kill the bats.
Yep. And he has TP if he wants this.
Anti-Mage did not get anything for coming off that lane, but it was really interesting the way that fight went down. Vega were thinking they're running away from diving our tower, we just need to catch them. And the Shackle actually, it feels like it worked more for Wings than for Vega, because they were sitting in all the like napalm fire.
I still want to say that if he had Flame Break there, would have just killed everybody.
Yeah. He's got a point now.
Yeah. Yeah, the point I was making earlier is I'm surprised that Wings are using so many smokes pre-Bat Blink. And now I think they wish they had a couple more, because generally we do see that first blink usage being combined with the smoke.
Speaking of smokes, look at bot lane. Shadow Shaman smoked in, so is Spirit Breaker. Well, Spirit Breaker is... Okay, the smoke is finished now.
Yeah. And
this Ancient Apparition is being very careful and gets rewarded for it. I mean, he's got a level 6 pretty early on as well, so good instincts from Ice.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Speaking of instincts, Spectre is going to just TP away, because he did see his lane war being dewarded. And that's where, let's say, Bat Rider have a smoke, could just bypass it and make a play. TP's to bottom lane, and Mag is, again, ready with the scouting, but really do anything about the scout, as we do see Mag being essentially blown the hell up. Meanwhile, Spirit Breaker charges out. Alright, so that Bat Blink, doing pretty good work.
So these are kind of the two controlling forces. On the side of Wings, there's the Bat, and on the side of Vega, there's the, like, each time they have their ultis, they use them. And it almost feels like we're gonna just trade back and forth, like a pickle for each side each time. I do feel like the global combo has potential to like get more than one kill occasionally, depending on like the setup.
Although the Bat is a much lower cooldown.
Yeah. So I guess you can argue it either way. Aegis Prophets respawns. Zeus has soaring, so actually the combo's ready right now for Vega if they want.
Yep. It's like you said though, the cores, the ones that you really want to kill are the harder ones to kill. You know, Juggernaut's got Spin, Anti-Mage's got Blink, so I want to say you need almost something like a Blink Shaman to really make those kills happen. And obviously he doesn't have to go for it, so who do you actually get? You know, is dumping that combo for Venge, for example, is that even worth it?
No, it's not. What they actually need is the Shadow Shaman 6, which they just got now. Because remember, the other part of the draft we're talking about is it's meant to be a push strategy.
Right.
And then you force the team to like either be in like put one of their cores alone where you can pick them off, or group up and fight you, and then suddenly your like global combo hits everyone in the fight, and that's really good for you. So I think now that they've got like some pushing power online, this is what Vega play for. And it looks like Wings are one step ahead actually, because as the push comes into our top lane, there's actually going to be a Wings gank from this Bat Rider, and
yep. I mean, when you have a Blink Lasso and Ice Blast, you're killing whoever you want to kill. Ward's going to scout out Nightpash. If he wants to give me the Courier is going to, well, give away the position. Should be a very easy Ice Blast. And, well, that's going to be one kill. They can go for a little bit more if they want. Serpent Ward being committed behind the tree line here. Simon the Slayer is going to drop down to Omniside. Meanwhile, it looks like Blink in a lot of trouble as well. Mag close up onto him. Maybe they're going to drop a healing ward. No, it looks like he's going to be fine. Dropping down the Napalm. The mech's going to come out, and looks like Mag is going to go down as a result. Looks like the buyback into a haunt in. Everybody's really low. Maybe Ice is gonna die. No, it looks like he's juking around on the back line here. He's gonna chase down one hero, and Charge coming in against Innocence. This is the one thing I hate about these global lineups, is that the fights are often as chaotic as this. Hard to say who really came off ahead, because they did get the buyback and the haunt Spectre, but they lose a lot of heroes.
Yeah, I think Vega probably win very slightly, but the Anti-Mage did get some free time to farm.
Yeah.
So overall, it's probably actually a bit of a win for Wings.
Dire's bottom tower.
I say it's a win for Wings, where you use all your globals, especially the Shaman wards, and you don't get any push out of it, right? Normally, if you use all your ultimates, you trade a couple kills, and then you get a tower, then I say, alright, Vega's doing okay. So, I don't know. I think Wings is... Like, for example, for Wings, Bat comes back alive. He's got Lasso again. He can make the exact same play aggressively.
Oh, the swap. Spectre's getting caught, and this Pash is already just bought back. Okay, he's gonna be able to get out.
Yeah, but Wings is, to me, able to control the map a lot more frequently. For example, they could just group up and, start sieging a tower up top. And it's very hard for Vega to fight against that.
But it's only while they ride the momentum. If they're to lose another fight, then all of a sudden the map's not free to them at all.
Well, Nineposh now being grabbed up here. There's going to have a magic missile. And he's dead. That's a dieback. The charge is going to come through. Innocent's in a lot of trouble, and so is Blink. They're going to drop the ultimate on Blink. Blink, a lot of trouble. He's going to go down. The healing ward keeping him back up. The Force Staff, he's over the tree line, gets the Firefly. He should be fine. The healing ward keeping him alive. The vision being granted by Zeus. He's being really pinned in right now. There's a Flame Break coming out. The Ice Blast, not going to hit on everybody or anybody, but Wings able to extend that team fight because of the healing ward, winning it. Anti-Mage also joining in fact, he does have Battle Fury finished. So, man, that was a big turnaround for Wings.
How much work did that healing ward do? I mean, Nature's Mag actually rushed a mech, so...
That's ward trap here by Seema.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small consolation, and actually I think he's gonna go down for it.
Oh, actually saying that using a ward for a support kill might not even be worth it? I don't know.
If you die, it's definitely not.
Yeah. And then you get your ward cleaned out.
Vega being pushed into positions they don't want to be in. That's Wings are doing exactly what we discussed in the draft, where they like... Before everyone's ready to like do their thing, they go in. They catch the Spectre, okay, now he can't use the Haunt, so right. Zeus and Fiora feel like, okay, we have to ulti, but it's not the full combo, and... So Wings are really doing well to keep up the pressure, especially considering the fact that one of the heroes is Anti-Mage, is kind of farming off on its own.
Yeah, also the Spat Rider is absolutely monstrous for this stage of the game. He's 7-1 and 3, he's got 4 staff already finished, so right now he could start thinking about whatever luxury he wants, and I feel like an item like BKB makes him essentially immortal in this game.
Yeah.
Or are you thinking that there's something better? We see Aether Lens in the past.
I mean, I'd be happy to see a BKB, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, and he picks up the Ogre Club, so that's what he's on the way to. Guess we're gonna see like a Dragon Lance.
Dragon Lance, give him the right clicks, man. You got Napalm.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, like after saying so much in Vega's favor draft-wise from the start of the game, I think they're in trouble here.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely in trouble.
I mean, all of that was pre-Anti-Mage, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, Wings was winning 4v5.
Yeah, we haven't, I mean, the one thing to say for Vega is that they actually haven't used their, like, combo proactively.
That's the full
like,
one combo.
Yeah, like, since Spirit Breaker got level 6, like, they haven't, like, just we go on someone and we do the whole combo. It's always them reacting to Wings. So if they find an opportunity, it's not, I mean, in a poor position, but if they win a big fight, they could be in a really good position still. Okay,
this could be the combo now, but this is, again, a reactionary combo. They're going to go on Mag. They do trade 1-for-1 so far. Innocence complete the TP, so it's going to be fine. And now suddenly it's going to be mid pushing in here. But he's dropping the healing ward, and they're going to get a tier 1 tower.
Yeah, it's another win for Wings. And another thing that we need to go back to is that, well, that's actually another bad catch. He gets hexed in response, but...
Oh, he doesn't get them onto low ground, but Flame Break will push him a little bit. Now Seema in a lot of trouble. Bat Rider very, very tanky. Omni Slash gets a double kill. Easy bounces here. I don't know. It is looking real bad for Vega right now.
Yeah, and especially because of how well the Bat's doing, it feels now like Wings got away with Juggernaut and Anti-Mage, which you'd usually say is like quite a greedy draft. I mean, Jug was kind of in the offlane, but he's ended up being like they just have another carry. And
it's not even going like, you know, the standard, if you get an offlane Jug, you go for things like drums, Vlads. He's actually going like, you know, SMY and stuff.
Yeah.
So it looks like you said double carry.
And in the meantime, okay, we got a drum on Spectre, so Pash has recognized like he's got all the early items they need to fight, but Vega ran out of time to win a fight. That's how I feel. Especially with like the mech buy on the Nature's Prophet, who now seems to be going back for well, either Midas or Maelstrom, like more farmy, pushy build, but...
Alright, they found Shadow. Is this the full-time combo? No, the Venge is already there. They swap him, and now Shadow's tanky enough where he really won't die.
Zeus doesn't have ulti yet.
Yeah. He'll back up.
I think Vega have got like the next 5 to 10 minutes where they actually need to get value out of their comp. They need to like win a fight, or they're just gonna be like too far behind. Like all these like there are 3 heroes in the net worth who are way ahead of all of the heroes already, and it's just the gap's gonna get bigger if they don't take a fight sometime soon.
Right. So you just sit back, wait for all your cooldowns, then you just go. Right.
Yeah, that's
Preferably on anti-mage.
it's got to be the play. I mean, they'll be happy. Yeah, if they get a pick off an anti-mage, they'll be happy. Otherwise, it's got to be like more than one hero.
Yep. I say Bat's not a bad pick right now either, because he's got huge streak. So whoever does get the kill, will get a nice amount of gold.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, if they get one hero, one of the cores. Otherwise, they're definitely not happy if they have to combo for like Avenge or an AA.
Speaking of combo, Wings now has a gem, which will make the combo coming out a lot harder for Vega, as they are losing more and more vision as the game goes on.
Yeah, and the Spirit Break is trying to rush Shadow Blade, and that's not going to help at this point. Like, it's actually really interesting. Usually you see a support Spirit Breaker going Shadow Blade when they're winning, when they're doing really well.
Yes.
And it looks like almost a bit of a joke that we see the gem come out while there's a support Spirit Breaker rushing it.
And Wings just push this. I mean, they'll damage it, but I don't think they'll get to tier 3. Yeah, they'll back off.
Yeah, it's not something you usually see out of an anti-mage lineup, like pre-Manta going high ground.
And Wings very comfortable how the game's going. Even Hanamitis coming out from the AA. The game was a little bit closer. You might see him getting things like.
Oh, they spotted Mag, but he's out. So that's a lot of TPs from Wings actually to try and catch Mag. Mag gets away. So it's a small like resource and positional win for Vega. Yeah. But again, we said like that is not enough for Vega to get back into this game. They need to make some kills. They need to win a fight or make a big pick off. And they're smoking out for it. It's gonna help to have Zeus in the smoke actually, so it's not just his ulti, he's like got the bolts as well. I think that gives him a lot more damage in trying to make a kill.
Well, one thing that to look out for is someone focusing the healing ward. Because I feel like with this particular global lineup, you are trying to kind of slowly kill them, whittle them down a bit, you know?
The healing ward like totally won the fight for
Yeah.
top lane, definitely.
But who's actually good at doing it, right? Zeus has no attack range, Mag can't really get too close. I guess you could send a tree or two after it, but
maybe
healing ward moves very fast.
Yeah, maybe Spirit Breaker like once he's used his 2 spells, just like charge runs after. Yeah,
Walk. I think the ward could
outrun him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nature's Prophet could attack it, but he's pretty fragile as well. Although he's bought a mech, so maybe he's happy to be like walking into the fight.
You know, the Bat Rider, I'm not sure if the mech choice was that great, because the Bat Rider essentially is very good against the mech, right? You're in a lot of situation where if Bat Rider finds somebody, you're forced to just mech one, and that's not really the great value for the mech. In fact, no one in a lot of trouble. The Ice Blast is going to clip him. He's going to die.
Yeah, and there's the A, so mech couldn't do anything even if...
There you go. And that's tier 3. And possibly Rex.
It's so interesting because I feel like the way I analyzed Vegas to swap in and another kill.
It's a quick one, and I think the charge is coming, but they got the gem, right? So they see it. In fact, he canceled the charge. He's going to go for the bench, but defensive force staff is going to be there. And look at Solo. He's just melting so very quickly. Here comes Nineposh. He is really gunning for the kill. I don't think he'll get it. Urn dropping him relatively low. And Nineposh eats a full Omni Slash that really Mana Voids for the mini set. They call it GG. That was it.
Wow, what a devastating game. And it's like, I honestly think that a lot of the stuff I was saying about Vega's drop, I think that's how Vega were thinking as well. They were like, oh, this game's going to be easy. We just don't get owned in lane. Suddenly we have our combo. But the timings by Wings, like the Bat's good starts, I think you pointed out, very important. And then time after time, Wings just like jumped them, caught them out before they were ready. Like they were expecting to play on their own times, and they got forced to play on Wings' times, and Wings were just like too fast for them.
I think the Juggernaut last pick was so instrumental in how this game went out. You talked about the healing ward. We keep mentioning that you removed a possibility of a core being ganked, because you can always just spin TP away